Washek folks, back with another reaction, back with some more Sinéad O'Connor. And we're going back to her 1990 album, I Do Not Want What I Haven't Got. Once again, big shout out to all those who've been following the Sinead journey, and it's clear that she is an artist with incredibly passionate fans, and ultimately it seems like there's been a rekindling of attention to her music, perhaps in the wake of her death, and I feel like, my deep dive is in a way part of that. So ultimately, again, shout out to all the folks who've been involved in making this happen. And the next tune on the album is Black Boys on Mopeds. It's a very specific title. I feel like it has to be a reference to something particular, whether that's, I don't know, a work of art, a cultural scene, maybe an anecdote either from Sinead's life or maybe someone associated with the song, or perhaps building off of some other work of art. Either way, it's obviously a very visual statement, and it suggests kinetic motion and activity. But the context, at least if there is one that is specific to something, I'm not aware of in advance. So let's see what I can pick up on a first listen. This is Sinead O'Connor. The tune is Black Boys on Mopeds, and it's from her 1990 album, I Do Not Want What I Haven't Got.
On TV, shocked by the deaths that took place in Beijing. It seems strange that she should be offended. The same orders are given by her.
But I still don't
I've said this before now. You said I was childish, and you'll say it now. Remember what I told you. If they hated me, they will hate you. England's not the mythical land of Madame George and Roses. It's the home of police who kill black boys on mopeds. And I love my boy, and that's why I'm leaving. I don't want him to be aware that there's any such thing as grieving. Young mother down at Smithfield, 5 a.m. looking for food for her kids. In her arms she holds 3 cold babies, and the first word that I learned was please. These are dangerous days. To say what you feel is to make your own grave. Remember what I told you. If you were of the world, they would love you. England's not the mythical land of Madame George and Roses. It's the home of police who kill black boys on mopeds. And I love my boy, and that's why I'm leaving. I don't want him to be aware that there's any such thing as grieving.
to begin? A very heavy tune, emotionally, a tune that seemingly has to speak to a particular incident. Ultimately, I think it's speaking to many concepts, but to unpack it in parts, it feels like we're talking about the brutal repression, in some cases physical, through law enforcement, police, and so on, which, referring to England specifically, but knowing that she's Irish and, the history of British military involvement there, and then speaking to like her own personal life, that she doesn't want to like raise her kid there because she doesn't want to have to explain why this can happen to young folks. And I like the part at the beginning, presumably referencing the Tiananmen Square massacre and the tank man, the anonymous and whose fate is unknown tank man, and then saying, well, you shouldn't. It's funny that they're like expressing awe or like even admiration of this brave individual, when literally Margaret Thatcher, their government will order the very same type of actions, if it means putting down like protests or problems within the remaining vestiges of the British Empire. So again, it feels like it's addressing some large-scale political issues, social issues and inequities and miscarriages of justice. And again, the whole Black Boys on Mopeds, it feels like that has to be some specific incident where, police perhaps, too quick to use force and, maybe attacking the wrong people in the first place, or overreacting to like a non-crime or something, and ended up killing young Black British men. So I wonder exactly the context of that, but I would be willing to guess that it is a reference to a very specific thing. But again, it was like the whole thing about her child was like the point that like really kind of made me emotional, because it's like talking about these broad things. And she's also talking about, I think, that like artists, if you speak about these things, if you point out inequities, if you say, hey, we had this national patriotic rhetoric and we think we officially say we're doing these things, and then, these are actually the more troubling and, complicated realities, or the things that people wanted to sweep under the rug or pretend aren't happening. If you talk about them, that's your own grave. And it's, it makes me think of like a lot of punk artists who would never be played on like, major radio stations, or, get their videos on large like music TV stations owned by huge multinational corporations, who are being criticized in a lot of the songs in question. So it felt like there was maybe that layer to it as well, that artists, they address more complicated and controversial issues at their own peril. So it feels like there's a lot of things, and the dark days, are here, and so it feels like there's a lot of things that you could say, increasingly it feels like they're not topical, they're not specific to that time. Like, there's conversations, and even though conversations about some of these issues evolve, and maybe even, the landscape of them changes, clearly these are issues that are all still relevant. Another powerful, incredible tune. There was a bit of like Joan Baez, brave, female, powerful voice, with a very simple acoustic guitar accompaniment. It had kind of that like classic singer-songwriter, like 60s artist sort of feel. So really enjoyed it. Incredible tune, made me emotional by the end. Do let me know what you think. Luca will continue to be sleepy and cute the whole time, so we can take solace in that. In any case, let me know what you think. I will see you next time. Peace.